Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, done with pranams to all of you. Thank you all for joining in for our Krishna book study session. We'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakanitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyatyadesh Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Rishi Namah Panchatattvaatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत् गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and with pranams to all of you. Thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study session. We are on chapter number 17. We are studying about extinguishing the forest fire. That's the topic for today. So, yesterday we spoke about, or we discussed, or we read about how Krishna subdued Kaliya. And yet, although Krishna wanted to kill Kaliya, right, as he was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, the Naga Patnis came out and they were so grateful to Lord Krishna, right, that he chose to dance on the hoods of Kaliya, thereby purifying Kaliya. And they said, please spare his life, right, because we are dependent on him. And because the Naga Patnis were devotees of the Lord immediately forgave Kaliya. And the Lord asked Kaliya to move to another ocean where, whereby the waters of the Yamuna are pure, and the cows, the gopas, and all the Vrajavasis can actually um, relish the water of the Yamuna. So in this way, Krishna subdued Kaliya, yet did not kill him. And we saw how we also want to pray to Lord Sri Krishna to actually extinguish, actually kill all the anarthas in our heart, which is Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So in this way, the killing of the demons in the Krishna Lila, or the Lord actually extinguishing, or the Lord actually killing the various demons, actually is an opportunity for us to pray to the Lord to actually kill the demoniac kind of anarthas in our hearts. So we saw how at the end of the last chapter, Prabhupada actually explains why Kaliya took shelter of the Yamuna, because he could not go anywhere outside because he was scared of Garuda, right? Because of course, Kaliya, the snakes are the Mahaprasadi Govinde for Garuda, isn't it? So in order to escape from Garuda, actually Kalia came to this, Yamuna river, right? But then Lord Krishna, and Prabhupada actually tells us that Kalia was no longer scared of Garuda as he went out to another place. Why? Because the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna was engraved on his hoods, and Garuda will not attack anyone, because they have the lotus feet of Krishna embedded on them. So similarly, if we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, we also need not be fearful of snakes. We need not be fearful of envious people. In this way, we'll always be protected. So, what is the best form of protection? To have Krishna in our lives, to have Krishna's lotus footprints embedded on our heads, embedded in our hearts. And then we need not fear envious people. We need not fear any situation of this material world. Bhajahu Remana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. We can be fearless if we place Lord Sri Krishna, his teachings, his lotus feet, his holy names in our tongue, and we always remember Krishna in our heart. And in this way, where Lord Krishna is there, Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar, Jahan Krishna taha nahi hai Maya Adhikar. And in this way, we keep Krishna in our lives, then our lives will be illumined, our lives will be enlightened with transcendental knowledge, and there will be no room for darkness, there will be no room for enviousness, there will be no room for passion, there will be no room for lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, right? And we want to have place only for eternal, unmotivated, uninterrupted love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and devotional service at His lotus feet in our hearts. We don't want to keep any place for anything else in our hearts, right? So with that, Parikshit Maharaj is inquiring again from Shukadeva Goswami, why was this enmity between Garuda and Kalia, right? What was the reason for all of this and all that, right? So we will go on to the next chapter, which is actually a continuation of Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Parikshit Maharaj is inquiring from Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, and through Parikshit Maharaj is giving us lessons for our life, right? So let me quickly, okay, my screen is already shared. I'm seeing that. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me, okay, I hope everybody's able to see my screen. Okay, let's go ahead. Shubhangi Keshri Mataji, please go ahead. Extinguishing the forest fire, chapter number 17.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Chapter 16, Extinguishing the Forest Fire. King Parikshit, after hearing of the chastisement of Kalia, inquired from Shukadev Goswami as to why Kalia left his beautiful land and why Garuda was so antagonist to him. Sukadev Goswami informed the king that the island known as the Nagalaya was inhabited by serpents and that Kalia was one of the chief serpents there. Being accustomed to eating snakes, Garuda used to come to this island and kill many serpents at will. Some of them he actually ate, but some were unnecessarily killed. The reptile society became so disturbed that their leader Vasuki appealed to Lord Brahma for protection. Lord Brahma made an arrangement by which Garuda would not create a disturbance. On each half moon day, the reptile community would offer a serpent to Garuda. The serpent was to be kept underneath a tree as a sacrificial offering to Garuda. Garuda was satisfied with this offering, and therefore he did not disturb any other serpents. But gradually, Kalia took advantage of this situation. He was unnecessarily puffed up by the volume of his accumulated poison, as well as by his material power, and he thought, why should Garuda be offered this sacrifice? He then cursed offering any sacrifice. Instead, he himself ate the offering intended for Garuda. When Garuda, the great devotee, carrier of Vishnu, understood that Kalia was eating the offered sacrifice, he became very angry and rushed to the island to kill the offensive servants. Kalia tried to fight Garuda and faced him with his many hoods and poisonous sharp teeth. Kalia attempted to bite him, and Garuda, the son of Tarksha, in great anger and with the great force benefiting the carrier of Lord Vishnu, struck the body of Kalia with his effulgent golden wings. Kalia, who is also known as Kadru Sutta, son of Kadru, immediately fled to the lake known as Kalia Hrada, which lay within the Yamuna river and which Garuda could not approach. Kalia took shelter within the water of the Yamuna for the following reason. Just as Garuda went to the island of the Kalia snake, he also used to go to the Yamuna to catch fish to eat. There was, however, a great yogi known as Shrabbani Muni who used to meditate within the water. There and who was sympathetic with the fish. He asked Garuda not to come there and disturb the fish. Although Garuda was not under anyone's order, being the carrier of Lord Vishnu, he did not disobey the order of the great yogi. Instead of staying and eating many fishes, he carried off one big fish who was their leader. Sharbari Muni was sorry that one of the leader of the fish was taken away by Garuda, and thinking of their protection, he cursed Garuda with the following words: "Henceforward from this day, if Garuda comes here to catch fishes, then I say this with all my strength, he will be immediately killed." Should I continue, Mataji?
Yeah, continue, Mataji. Okay, someone else can read. Monimala Mataji, continue.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavais Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम। माता जी
प्रणाम।
माता जी रीड करने से पहले मैं थोड़ा आपको बताना चाहती हूँ। हरे
Yes,
कृष्ण माता
Mataji.
जी। हाँ माता जी, मैंने वो लक्ष्मी भेजा था। हैव यू गॉट इट माता जी?
Oh,
मैंने
Mataji, I'm a little, behind in checking my WhatsApp messages. I'll
ओके
come
ओके
back to
माता
you,
जी,
Mataji. I've not yet read all the messages, so I'll definitely come back to you on WhatsApp itself.
थैंक यू माता जी। और मैंने
Thank you for your
स्क्रीनशॉट भी भेजा है माता जी, स्क्रीनशॉट भी
Thank
भेजा
you
है।
so much.
थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू।
Thank you for your contribution, Mataji. I'll just check and revert back on all the WhatsApp messages. I'm a little behind, so
नो
I will
प्रॉब्लम
come
माता
up to
जी,
date. Okay, Hare Krishna.
नो प्रॉब्लम
Yes.
माता जी। हरी बोल।
Yeah. Right, Mataji. Please read. This curse was known only to Kalia from there.
This curse was known only to Kalia. Kalia was therefore confident that Garuda would not be able to come there, and so he thought it wise to take shelter of the lake within the Yamuna. But Kalia taking shelter of so
Kobari Muni.
Sabari Muni was not successful. He was driven away from the Yamuna by Krishna, the master of Garuda. It may be noted that Garuda is directly related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is so powerful that he is never subject to anyone's order or curse. Actually, the cursing of Garuda, who is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam to be of the stature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagwan, was an offense on the part of Shaburi Muni. Although Garuda did not try to retaliate, the Muni was not saved from the offensive act against a great Vaishnava personality. Due to this offense, the Saburi fell down from his yogic position and afterwards became a householder, a saint's enjoyer in the material world. The fall down of Saburi Muni, who was supposed to be absorbed in spiritual bliss by meditation is an instruction to the offender of Vaishnava. When Krishna
Hare
finally
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Just you
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
can continue reading. I just wanted to discuss this point here about Vaishnava Aparad, right? What is this about Vaishnava Aparad? See, Garuda, it is the so Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. Every living entity actually subsists on other living entities, right? For human beings, it is prescribed Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, right? We also do, take our greens from the plants, right? We also get milk from the cows, right? So there is a certain prescription that is given by the Lord in the Vedic scriptures, how every living entity is dependent on what is given by another living entity for his own sustenance, right? For his own subsistence, right? For his own living, right? So in this way, Garuda was right in taking a fish because that is the prescribed food for Garuda, right? But Shaubari Muni, what did he do? He cursed Garuda that anybody who comes, that if Garuda comes and takes up just because he took a fish from Yamuna and that was his food. So Shaubari Muni, because he cursed Garuda, Shaubari Muni actually committed Vaishnava Aparad because Garuda himself is a carrier of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he was not doing any mistake. He was only having his daily food, right, which is prescribed for him is the fish. So because he cursed Garuda, who is non-different from the Lord, the associates with the Lord are non-different from the Lord, it was actually an offense to the Lord of Shobari Muni. And that is why Shobari Muni was so much blissful in meditation, actually became a householder. He became the sense enjoyer, right? He did not even become a grahastha. He became a graha medi, right? One who tries to enjoy and exploit this material world is not called a grahastha. The grahastha is a proper ashram. Even by being a grahastha, one can go back home, back to Godhead, right? Provided the life is centered around Lord Sri Krishna, service of Lord Sri Krishna. But if one becomes a Graha Medi, that means what? His senses are in the center of his home, right? Whatever I do, it is for my sense pleasure. It is for the sense pleasure of my family, my society, my country, my community. So in that way, Shobri Muni was so deeply engrossed in meditation, actually became a Grahamedi, actually became a sense enjoyer. Why? Because of the offense to the to Garuda, right? Because himself is the greatest Vaishnava, right? Anyone who renders service to Lord Vishnu is the greatest of the Vaishnavas, right? And in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Shuni Cheva Swapakalcha Pandita Samadarshinaha. So devotee of the Lord has equal vision to everyone. He does not try to put down, or he does not try to offend any living entity. For that reason, he does not try to offend any living entity, and more so, he offers so much of respect to the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord. Since we also have to be careful. Sometimes when we offend the Vaishnavas, and what happens? Our the Shobri Muni, who was in such a stature of being a sage who was blissful in meditation on the on the river, right? He could live so many years in the river and perform meditation. Even he fell down because of a Vaishnava Aparadh. So what to speak of conditioned living entities, right? Like you and me, if we commit Vaishnava Aparadh, our little fledgling Bhakti Lata or our creeper of Bhakti will automatically be destroyed and will be cut at the root. Right? Hence, we have to be very careful before we react, before we speak. Don't think twice. Am I saying the right things? Am I offending a particular devotee by asking this question? Or am I offending a particular devotee by saying this? Or am I offending a devotee by my manasa, vacha, or karma? Whatever we think in our mind, in Kali Yuga, we think something in our mind, it will not affect us, right? If say if we are conditioned, because of which we are thinking ill of a particular devotee, then immediately we have the opportunity to glorify the devotee, right? Not carry that ill thought, because whatever thoughts we contemplate and we carry, we will put into action. And if we put into action, then our Bhakti Lata will be cut totally from the root. So even when a negative thought comes in our mind, we have to immediately retune that into glorifying that devotee. Right? Every devotee or even every living entity has some good qualities which we can glorify and genuinely feel appreciation for every person. Right? Because everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. So some good qualities of the Lord are manifesting in every living entity, to some degree or to a greater degree. So immediately we should find something that we appreciate in that particular person. Especially if you've got a negative thought about a particular person, you would appreciate that person so much that the negative thought gets clouded or it gets overcome by this positive thought about that devotee, and we have to actually appreciate that devotee. And when we do that, the negative thoughts get replaced by positive thoughts, by appreciative thoughts, and in this way we shield ourselves from committing Vaishnava Aparadh. Because if we commit Vaishnava Aparadh, right, it is said to be Bhakti Lata, the creeper, which is very fledgling, which is still growing, and it can never reach a stage where it can be independent. We need Sadhu Sangha, we need the blessings of the Vaishnavas, right? We cannot afford to commit Vaishnava Aparadh because that cuts the very root of our bhakti, right? So be very careful. If Shobri Muni can fall down from such an elevated state, what about conditioned sadhaka bhaktas, right? A Vaishnava Aparadh will cut the root of our devotional service, and you're very, 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 very careful how we are actually dealing with all the living entities for that reason, and especially dealing with Vaishnavas. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, Manimala Mataji already read. Sridhar Prabhu. Oh, sorry, Manimala Mataji, go ahead again. When Krishna finally came out.
When Krishna finally come out of Kaliya's lake, he was seen by all his friends and relatives on the bank of the Yamuna. He appeared before them nicely decorated, smeared all over the chandan pulp, bedecked with valuable jewels and stones, and almost completely covered with gold. The inhabitants of Vrindavan Vrindavan. In Mataji highlighted
the inhabitants of Vrindavan.
the inhabitants of Vrindavan, including the cowherd boys and men, the gopis, mother Jashoda, Maharaja Nando, and all the cows and calves saw Krishna coming from the Yamuna, and it was as though they had recovered their very life. When a person regains his life, naturally he becomes absorbed in pleasure and joyfulness. They each in turn praised Krishna to their chest, and thus they felt a great relief. Mother Jashoda, Rohini, Maharaja Nando, and the cowherd man became so happy that as they embraced Krishna, they thought they had achieved their ultimate goal of life. Balaram also embraced Krishna, but he was laughing because when everyone else had been so overwhelmed with anxiety, he had known that what would happen to Krishna. All the trees on the bank of the Jamuna, along with all the cows, bulls, and calves, were full of pleasure because of Krishna's appearance there. The Brahmana inhabitants of Vrindavana immediately came with their wives to congratulate Krishna and his family members, and because Brahmanas are considered to be the spiritual masters of society, they offer their blessings to Krishna and his family on account of Krishna's release. They had asked Maharaja Nanda to give them some charity on that occasion. Being so pleased by Krishna's return, Maharaja Nanda gave many cows and gave many cows and much gold in charity to the Brahmanas. While Nanda Maharaja was thus engaged, Mother Jashoda simply embraced Krishna and made him sit on her lap while he shed tears continuously.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So the activities of the Brahmanas are to be the leaders of the society, right? What do the Brahmanas do? Yajan, Yajan, Patan, Patan, Dana and Pratigraha, right? Yajan, Yajan means they perform yajnas, right? And the greatest yajna is a yajna is Sankirtana prayer, right? Of chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And they do Patan, Patan. They study the Vedic scriptures themselves and they explain the Vedic scriptures to others so that everybody can live a life of dharma as given in the Vedic scriptures. And they also do Patan, Patan, Yajan, Yajan, and Dana and Pratigraha. Right? Dana, what is the charity that they give? They give the charity of this Vedic knowledge. They teach others this Vedic, and they also accept charity from the kings. Right? In this way, they maintain their livelihood. Right? They also have to sustain. Right? So they get cows and gold as charity from the kings. Like here, it's mentioned how Maharaja Nanda used to give cows and gold in charity to the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas used to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by choicest verses from the Vedic scriptures. So in this way, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagaditaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. We all know that Krishna loves cows and the Brahmanas. And if cows and Brahmanas are properly satisfied, then Krishna's blessing will eternally prevail in that particular society. But if the cows and Brahmanas are kind of exploited in any society, then such a society can never be prosperous. Such a society can never flourish because they are not pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So some sit there, Haritoshanam. Everything becomes perfect when one actually pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how can one please the Supreme Personality of Godhead? One can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by actually pleasing the cows as well as the Brahmanas, right? Every day we tell that prayer also when we are offering boga to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord is not actually pleased by the actual boga. The Lord is pleased when our activities are such that they are pleasing to the Brahmanas and the cows. In that way, when they are pleased, the Lord is automatically pleased. Of course, offering boga is one of the ways in which we express our love and affection and devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Lord accepts our offering through His eyes only. All right, let's move ahead. Sridhar Prabhu, go ahead. Since it was almost night.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Since it was almost night and all the inhabitants of Vrindavana, including the cow and calves, were very tired, they decided to take their rest on the river bank. In the middle of the night, while they were taking rest, there was suddenly a great forest fire, and it quickly appeared that the fire would soon devour all the inhabitants of Vrindavana. As soon as they felt the warmth of fire, they immediately took shelter of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he was playing just like that child, they began to say, "Oh, our dear Krishna, oh, Supreme Personality of Godhead, our dear Balrama, reservoir of all strength, please try to save us from the all devouring, the devastating fire. We have no shelter other than you. The devastating fire will swallow us all." Thus they prayed to Krishna, saying that they could not take any shelter other than his lotus feet. Lord Krishna, being compassionate upon his own town people, immediately swallowed up the whole forest fire and saved them. This was not impossible for Krishna because he is unlimited. He has unlimited power to do anything he desires. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Thus, end of the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 17th chapter of Krishna, extinguish the forest fire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. We will go through the next chapter, chapter 18. But before that, what do the Vrajavasis do, right? Whether it is the extinguishing of the forest fire, whether they are scared by the forest fire, whether they are, whether there is any demon who's actually coming there to cause any harm to the Vrajavasis. The Vrajavasis have only one shelter, right? And that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So it's a lesson for us that whatever situations we may go through in life, whether of misery, whether of anxiety, whether of happiness, whether of distress, whatever be the situation, you always need to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? If we simply take shelter of Nandan, then we can be fearless, we'll be free from all anxiety, and that is the way we can sustain all of this miseries and frustration and the not so happy situations of this material world. This material world is dukhalayam. Dukha is bound to happen. But if we surrender under the lotus feet of the Lord, then we'll be protected in all the circumstances. Like Padma Patra Ivamasa. We can be in this material world, but we need not be of this material world. Situated in this material world, also we can be transcendental to the three modes of material nature. We can be in a Shuddha Sattva platform, even being in this material world of Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and Sattoguna. So, in that way, if we have to remain transcendental, then we have to eternally take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, in all circumstances, whether of happiness, whether of distress, whether of frustration, whether of anxiety, or whatever be the situation. All right, let's move ahead. Next chapter is entitled Killing the Demon, Pralambasura, chapter number 18. All right. Okay, Prabhu, go ahead. Who is reading right now? Sridhar Prabhu, right? Yeah, Sridhar Prabhu, you can go ahead. Killing the Demon, Pralambasura. Are you there, Prabhu? Sridhar Prabhu, are you there? All right, let's ask Rajneesh Prabhu. Please continue. Killing the Demon, Pralambasura.
Hare Krishna,
Am I audible?
Mataji Dandar.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandat Pranam. Yes, go ahead.
After extinguishing the devastating fire, Krishna, surrounded by his relatives, friends, cows, calves, and bulls, and glorified by his friends, singing, again entered Vrindavan, which is always full of cows. While Krishna and Balram were enjoying life in Vrindavan in the midst of the cowherd boys and
Hare
girls,
Krishna.
the season
Chapter
gradually
18. Hare Krishna Mataji. I am audible?
Sridhar Prabhu?
Am I
No,
audible?
Sridhar Prabhu. I'll call you later, later Prabhu. Rajneesh Prabhu is reading right now.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
While Krishna and Balrama were enjoying life in Vrindavan in the midst of the cowherd boys and girls, the season gradually changed to summer. The summer season in India is not very much welcomed because of the excessive heat, but in Vrindavan everyone was pleased because summer there appeared just like spring. This was possible only because Lord Krishna and Balram, who are the controllers even of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, were residing there. In Vrindavan, there are many falls which are always pouring water, and the sound is so sweet that it covers the sound of crickets. And because water flows all over, the forest always looks very green and beautiful. The inhabitants of Vrindavan were never disturbed by the scorching heat of the sun or the high summer temperatures. The lakes of Vrindavan are surrounded by the green grasses and various kinds of lotus flowers bloom there, such as the
Kalara, Kanja,
Kahalara, Kahalara, Kanja, and Utpala. And the air blowing in Vrindavan carries the aromatic pollen of those little lotus flowers. When, when of the particles of water from the waves of the Yamuna, the lakes and waterfalls touched the bodies of inhabitants of Vrindavan, they automatically felt a cooling effect. Therefore, they were practically undisturbed by the summer season. Vrindavan is such a nice place. Flowers are always blooming, and there are even various kinds of decorated deer. Birds are chirping, peacocks and crowing and dancing, and bees are humming. The cuckoos they are sing nicely in five kinds of tunes.
Hare
Krishna the
Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
reservoir, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jagat Pranam Prabhu, thank you. So here, we see how everything changes when one is surrendered to the Lord, right? Krishna and Balaram were personally present in Vrindavan. Because of that, they could not feel the scorching heat of the summer. There was the cuckoos beautifully singing, the beautiful waters flowing, and all that, because they could not feel, the summer heat, right? Even that climate, which was supposed to be very hot and sultry, was also very, very pleasing, right? So whenever Krishna is there, right, personally present, or Krishna is there in our hearts, or we always remember Krishna, then what happens? Even the tough situations of our life, right, seemingly they pass through without much of difficulty. But if we don't meditate on Krishna, we don't surrender to Krishna, even the so seemingly wonderful situations of this world also may seem tough, right? So if we have the association of Krishna, if we have the blessings of Krishna, even tough times are purifying our heart in such a way that we are able to sail through those situations also by surrender to the Lord. Whereas if we don't surrender to Krishna, even the so positive situations of our life also may not help us in going back home, back to Godhead, right? Sometimes we are so happy, and the way we enjoy, right, is not in a mode of gratitude towards the Lord, but actually trying to enjoy in a way that provides for sense gratification. So even the seemingly good situations are not actually good, because what is a good situation? A good situation is a situation which will enable us to remember Krishna. As we see, Kunti Maharani is always praying, let what is that? Again and again, let miseries come to me, because in situations of misery, I'm able to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Vipadam tantu yat shashvat, right? Shashvat means eternally I want miseries, Kunti Maharani is saying. But why she's asking for miseries, right? She's not some kind of a pessimistic person who wants to cry all the time, right? She's asking for miseries all the time because miseries are opportunities for us to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, right? So whether it is a situation of happiness or whether it is a situation of distress, if you're always able to remember Krishna, then every opportunity, then every situation, whether of happiness or distress, is an opportunity for us to get closer to Krishna. But a so-called happy moment, which makes us forget Krishna, is not actually a happy moment. A distressful moment, which enables us to remember Krishna, is not actually a distressful moment, but it is a moment which enables us to become dearer to Krishna, and hence that is actually a happy moment for a devotee or for a person who wants to advance in devotional life, right? So it's not according to what our senses perceive that whether we are happy or distressful, but how we respond to every situation, whether of happiness or of distress, whether of perceived happiness or perceived distress. If you are grateful to the Lord for both, then both can be opportunities for us to become dearer to Krishna. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, Sridhar Prabhu, if you are there, you can raise your hand. Then we'll come back to you. Okay, Karpagavali Mataji, go ahead. Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Nandapram.
Hare Krishna, Jagat Pranam.
Yes, Mataji. 1 minute, 1 minute. And Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, blowing his flute, accompanied by his elder brother Balarama and the other cowherd boys and the cows, entered the beautiful forest of Vrindavana to enjoy the atmosphere. They walked into the midst of newly grown leaves of trees whose flowers resembled a peacock feathers. They were garlanded by those flowers and decorated with saffron chalk. Sometimes they were dancing and singing, and sometimes wrestling with one another. While Krishna danced, some of the cowherd boys sang and the others played on flutes. Some bugled on buffalo horns or clapped their hands and praising Krishna, dear brother, you are dancing very nicely. Actually, all these boys were demigods descended from their higher plans to assist Krishna in his pastimes. The demigods, garbed in the dress of the cowherd boys, were encouraging Krishna in his dancing, just as one artist encourages another with praise. Up to that time, neither Balraman nor Krishna had undergone the hair cutting ceremony. Therefore, their hair were clustered like rose feathers. They were always playing hide and seek, and their boyfriends are jumping or fighting with them. Sometimes, while his friends were chanting and dancing, Krishna would praise them. My dear friends, you are dancing and singing very, very nicely. The boys played at catching ball and fruits with the fruits such as pear and amlaka. They played with blind man's cup, challenging and touching one another. Sometimes they imitated the forest deer and various kinds of birds. They joked with one another by imitating croaking frogs, and they enjoyed swinging under the trees. Sometimes they would play amongst themselves like a king and his subjects. In this way, Balarama and Krishna, along with their friends, played all kinds of sports and enjoyed the soothing atmosphere of Dharna, full of rivers, lakes, rivulets, fine trees, and excellent gardens filled with fruits and flowers. Once, while the boy engaging in the transcendental pastime, a great demon of the name Palambasura entered the company, desiring to kidnap both Balarama and Krishna. Although Krishna was playing the part of a cowherd boy, as the supreme personality of Godhead, he could understand everything present, past, and future. So when Palambasura entered the company, Krishna began to think how to kill this demon, but externally he received him as a friend. Oh, my dear friend, he said, it is very good that you have come to take part in our pastimes. Krishna had then called all his friends and ordered them, now we shall play in pairs. We shall challenge one another in pairs. With this proposal, all the boys assembled together. Some of them took aside the Krishna, some of them took the side of Balarama, and they arranged to play in duel. The defeated members in duel fighting had to carry the victorious members on their backs as a horse carries his master. They began playing at the same time, tended the cows as they were proceeded through the Bandi Ravana forest, through the Bandi
Hare
Ravana
Krishna.
forest. The party of
Thank you,
Bala.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mata.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata.
So, yeah, thank you, Dhanapranam. Right. So when this demon actually disguised as a Gopa and came to cause harm to Krishna, right? What did Krishna do? Krishna externally welcomed him. Okay, let's play a nice game where we will take two sides and Balaram is on one side and Krishna takes on the other side. Of course, Krishna knew, right? Anybody comes disguised, Krishna is situated in everyone's heart. He knows all of our desires. Even before we know our own desires, Krishna knows all of our desires, right? Because Krishna is situated in our heart. That's why he's called Bhavagrahi Janardana. Bhavagrahi means he knows our emotions. Sometimes you're not able to render any seva properly also. But Krishna sees our bhava, Krishna sees our desire. If you want to please the Lord is already pleased by our intentions. Right? Sometimes the Lord sees the action, sometimes the Lord sees the intentions. That is the greatness of the Lord. Right? Sometimes our desires are wonderful, but we are not able to carry it through. And sometimes we perform some abominable actions also, but because we think that pleases the Lord. Like for example, Putana, right? She had the intention to kill Krishna, but yet her action was that she fed Krishna with her own breast milk. So Krishna saw the action of Putana and liberated her. And in some cases, Krishna sees the intentions and does not see the action actually. Even if there is some fault in the action, Krishna still blesses the entity, living entity. So like this, we see that this demon has actually come in the form of a Gopa and is trying to kill Krishna, right? Is trying to kill Balaram and Krishna and the Gopas. So what does Krishna do? Krishna smiles and asks him to play the game. So it looks like Krishna is very merciful to him. But what is Krishna doing? Krishna is going to purify him. Right? Krishna and Balaram are actually going to purify, and Krishna does it through a magnificent game. Right? How Balaram will carry Pralambasura. Balaram's team will win. And this Pralambasura will carry Balaram on his shoulders, and he will run. And then he will run to a place, because Krishna did not also want to frighten all of his Gopa friends. Already they've just been through the forest fire, and Krishna has just extinguished the forest fire. So too many demons coming at too frequency, too much, fast frequency. He actually wanted Balaram to kill this demon Pralambasura. And in this way, this game was orchestrated by the Lord. Everything happens with the will of the Lord. Right? Some demons are killed by the Lord himself, some demons are killed by Balaram, but it all happens by the desire of Krishna himself. Because Balaram understands the heart of Krishna. And if Balaram knows, okay, Krishna wants me to serve in this capacity, Balaram is all ready. And that is how we also want to become instruments in the hands of Prabhupada, in the hands of our gurus, right? Whatever service they want us to do, whether it is book distribution, whether it is chanting Hare Krishna, we want to be ever ready to be an instrument in their hands to practice Krishna consciousness and to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. All right, so let's go ahead with this wonderful pastime of how how Krishna kills this demon, or Krishna arranges to kill this demon Pralambasura. Okay, so let's ask Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji. Please go ahead. The party of Balaram.
Hare Krishna Mataji, convert pranam. Hare Krishna. The party of Balarama, accompanied by Sri Rama and Vrishabha, came out victorious, and Krishna's party had to carry them on their backs through the Bandharamana forest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being defeated, had to carry Sri Rama on his back. And Bhadrasena carried Vrishabha. Imitating their play, Pralambasura, who appeared there as a coward boy, carried Balarama on his back. Pralambasura was the greatest of the demons, and he had calculated that Krishna was the most powerful of the coward boys. In order to avoid the company of Krishna, Pralambasura carried Balaram far away. The demon was undoubtedly very strong and powerful, but he was carrying Balarama, who is compared to a mountain. Therefore, he began to feel the burden, and thus he assumed his real form. When he appeared in his real feature, he was decorated with a golden helmet and earrings and looked just like a cloud with lightning carrying on the moon. Balarama observed the demon's body expanding up to the limits of the clouds, his eyes dazzling like a blazing fire, and his mouth flashing with sharpened teeth. At first, Balaram was surprised by the demon's appearance, and he began to wonder, how is it all of a sudden that this carrier has changed in every way? But with a clear mind, he could quickly understand that he was being carried away from his friends by a demon who intended to kill him. Immediately, he struck the head of the demon with a strong fist, just as the king of the heavenly planet strikes a mountain with his thunderbolt. Stricken by the fist of the Balarama, the demon fell down, dead, just like a snake with a smashed head, and blood poured from his mouth. When the demon fell, he made a tremendous sound, and it sounded as if a great hill were falling upon being struck by a thunderbolt of King Indra. All the boys then rushed to their spot. Astonished by the ghastly scene, they began to praise Balarama with the words, "Well done, well done." All of them then embraced Balarama with great affection, thinking that he had returned from death, and they offered their blessings and congratulations. All the demigods in the heavenly planets became very satisfied and showered flowers on the transcendental body of Balarama, and they all offered their blessing and congratulations for his having killed the great demon Pralambasura. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of 18th chapter of Krishna, killing of the demon Pralambasura.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very wonderful. Right? Killing of the demons, demons by Krishna or Balaram automatically always means that there is a victory of good over evil. There is victory of dharma over adharma. Right? And how the Lord carries it out without even revealing to the demon, right? No, none of the Gopas knew, but Krishna knew. And the way Krishna enacted this pastime of killing this Pralambasura was that no one actually could fathom that a demon was being killed, and that and when this particular demon actually took Balaram, carried him far much away. That time Krishna had orchestrated this, that Balaram is of course the supreme personality of Sarvatra Godhead. He serves Krishna in all capacities, in all the five rasas. In fact, in all the 12 rasas also, right? There are five primary rasas that we know, and it's also seven secondary rasas. In all the rasas, Balaram serves Krishna, and by Krishna's will, Pralambasura was killed by Balaram. And in this way, when Balaram returned, all of the Gopas started cheering Balaram, right? And they all glorified, and the demigods also showered flowers. And in this way, every killing of every demon by Lord Sri Krishna or Lord Balaram are always um, appreciated by the demigods, and they always, they give out flowers, they drop flowers from the heavenly abodes on Krishna and Balaram. They act like cheerleaders, right? When somebody of our team wins, we are happy, we cheer them, we encourage them, we glorify them. So like that, the demigods also shower flowers, and in this way celebrate how Krishna and Balaram have once again killed another demon. As sadhaka bhaktas, as we study all of these wonderful chapters, we need to understand that these, the demons who are killed by Krishna and Balaram, right, are like the demons in our heart, right? As many times as we reiterate this fact to us, right, then we would be reading the Krishna book or studying the Krishna book or understanding this Krishna book not merely as an entertainment to understand what are the activities of the Lord, but as life lessons for us, right? We also have all these demons in our heart because of which we are in this material world. If we want to go back home, back to Godhead, if we want to eternally serve the Lord, then we need to have all of these demons killed. And such demons of our heart cannot be killed by our own endeavor. We need the mercy of Guru, Gauranga, Radha Krishna, Srila Prabhupada. We need the mercy of all of our Vaishnava Acharyas. So as we study these pastimes as enumerated by our eternal Siksha Guru, ISKCON founder Acharya Divine Grace Abhicharanaravind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we pray to Srila Prabhupada, please bless us that all of these anarthas that are there in our hearts, the demons that are there in our hearts, may they be killed by Lord Sri Krishna or Lord Balaram, or representing the Lord as well as the original spiritual master. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Radha Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. So as we are studying all of this, we also remember that in about 5 days from today, 6th of September, we have the glorious, most auspicious appearance of Shri Radhashtami, the divine transcendental appearance of Srimati Radharani. Please do join us in our festival group as we celebrate, meditate on Vaishnava bhajans, preparing our consciousness for the most auspicious Shri Radhashtami. Radhashtami Mahamotsava ki jai. Now we'll do quickly Harinam Sankirtan, 2-3 minutes. I request devotees to switch on your cameras. It's always wonderful to have darshan of devotees as much as it's wonderful to have darshan of the lordships, right? Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyaadishtatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Priyadvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Priyadvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Nitai, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Sudarshan, Jai Bala Gopal, Jai Radha Krishna, Jai Radha Giridhari, Jai Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda, Jai Radha Gopinath, Jai Radhe Radhe, Jai Radha Sham Sundar, Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Radha Rasa Bihari, Jai Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Sadguru Swami, Jai Guru Parampara, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Guru Devanitai, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। कलियुग पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much, dear devotees. Shubhangi Keshri Mataji, Manimala Mataji, Harjit Mataji, Karpaguli Mataji, Anusha Mataji, Sarvagopi Shri Mataji, all the devotees. Thank you all for switching on your cameras and giving us your nice, wonderful transcendental darshan. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Thank you very much. Also, I would like to thank all the devotees for your wonderful contributions for Srimad Bhagavatam Shastradan. Sorry, I'm not very online with my WhatsApp yet. So I'll quickly check that out and I will update and send message into the group. Thank you, Monimala Mataji, for your contribution. I'll just check and revert back in the group. Thanking all of you for your wonderful contributions. We please Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada by engaging in this process of contributing towards Shastradan, by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, by studying Srila Prabhupada's books, by following the four regulative principles, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, if we can spend our 24 hours in service to Guru and Gauranga by following their instructions, by following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada as given in his books that we read here, because we read not for entertainment, we read not for time pass, but we read to absorb these principles as given by Prabhupada in our lives, so that our life gets transformed. So it's such a way that we spend 24 hours of the day, the 24 hours of day and night in service to Lord Krishna, in service to Guru and Gauranga. And that is the perfection of human form of life. Hare Krishna, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear devotees, and pranams to all. Hare Krishna. We meet tomorrow morning 5 o'clock for a Brahma Murta chanting.